Greetings, I'm Sophis. Today, I'm bringing you another old build, revisited and revised, the Arcane Assemblers. This one was a novel idea at its time, mixing astral and materium affinity to give mystics better production and a construct army. Thanks to new society traits, tomes, and ruler types, we can polish this idea further. Making two opposite affinities work together is trickier when it comes to astral and materium, due to them focusing entirely on different resources. Still, it is very rewarding as it gives you plenty of production and mana if you do it right. The initial change I've made to this build was to shift it from potential mystics to the summoning subculture. Even though you'll be unable to upgrade your constructs, you'll have plenty of elementals that you can upgrade with the summoner feature. Besides, the copper golems that you'll spam at the start will get phased out later on, unlike in the original build. Until that point, fuel them anytime you need reinforcements. Don't feel too bad if you lose some before they become bronze golems. Your final construct units will be the clay constructs, primarily the clay defender. You can also use the charger and summon stone spirits to be your frontline, but I prefer the other way around, as the astral spells will let your summoners get storm spirits as well. With this build, you'll pretty much have access to all elementals, and you can fill the ranks with them as you need. So, both in matters of convenience and due to the fact that you'll have better constructs, copper and bronze golems really do get phased out when you hit the later stages of the game. The army combination I've preferred with this faction is 2 defenders, a summoner, a geomancer, and either 2 heroes or a hero and an elemental. You can always use Summon Astral Reflection to double up on any unit you need more of in this composition. Most of the time, the Geomancer is the best unit to use that spell on, since they hit pretty hard and depending on terrain they'll be great for crowd control. The Summoner is the glue of this hybrid composition, with skills to buff both summons and constructs, as well as their own summons, giving you, at the basest, a distraction for the enemy. Your construct frontline is geared to handle well being hit with magic damage. Warding metals, spell-tempered shields, and mirror veil stack up to protect them from non-physical damage. And all the clay constructs benefit from undying, so you can get them back into the fight even if you lose them initially. Depending on your positioning, they'll also benefit from compounding defense. They also get some offensive enchantments. First, Sundering Blades, letting them prime enemy targets for physical damage backliners like ranger heroes can inflict. Then you get Lightning Blades for extra damage, and Resonant Blades gives you a variable debuff depending on the type of terrain your army is standing on. The first big damage buff they get is from support units using tuning kits, if you don't mind risking the chance of being stunned every attack. The second one is from Vision of Destiny being fulfilled, which will give them extra damage on retaliation attacks and an extra retaliation to boot. Your backline will mainly be heroes, summoners, and geomancers. Both support and battle mages get lightning focus for extra damage, then frenzying focus for extra range. Support will also get tuning kits to help your constructs. It isn't a lot of enchantments, but it's enough when accounting the form traits and the universal enchantments. Your units will all benefit from Shaper's Touch, since they will either be constructs or elementals. All non-mythics will also benefit from Raiders of the Deep. On the underground layer, you'll have plenty of defense, and above ground you'll get an extra damage boost. The big change from the original was shifting away from a dragon ruler, as this build clearly benefits more from a rock giant king. You'll have plenty of production already, but the underground strategy, as well as the production of binding essence, makes it much more preferable to have a giant king to let you forge things and equip all your heroes as best as you can. There's no hero class preference, but I've had good results with the physical sniper ranger thanks to all the defense sundering. The giant itself is an elementalist for the sake of crowd control and backline damage. The only warning I'll give in regards to the campaign is that your growth will be slow. The production will speed along building up your cities, but food production isn't a specialty of this faction, so either be ready to spend plenty of Imperium or try to build farms early before swapping the provinces into something else later on. Once your cities are built up, you'll get plenty of gold and mana, with a production capacity comparable to a more materium-oriented culture like Reavers or Industrious. Now let's talk about the society and form traits. As we're playing Summoner Mystics, first we pick Mana Channelers. The other trait will be Vision of Destiny. Make sure to pick the Materium Vision when you start the match. Just by building up your cities, you'll fulfill the requirements. This will primarily benefit your frontline damage, but the extra retaliation also means more applications of Sunder Defense. With form traits, you'll of course want underground adaptation unless you're playing in a map with forced underground starts. With dungeon depths being an important part of the build, you'll want most, if not all of your territory to be underground if possible. Then, since your form units will be the backline and deal magic damage, pick King-Sighted and Arcane Focus. Now let's go over the tomes. At Tier 1, you'll want to start with Enchantment. Copper Golems will have their use in the early game before you phase them out, so it is best that you get them right off the bat. The important researches in this tome are Sundering Blades and Spell-Tempered Shields. You can research Purging Arrows if you intend to use the Clay Arbalest, but otherwise you can safely skip it. Then we have Tome of Evocation. From this, you'll primarily want the damage enchantments, Lightning Blades and Lightning Focus. You can get the Lesser Storm Spirit Summon if you want, but I would skip the Evoker since you already have a low-tier Cultural Battle Mage. At Tier 2, we have Tome of the Dungeon Depths. We want this first one to start terraforming the underground early, as you'll get a lot of benefits from doing so. Everything except for Dungeon Hazard is important, so if you can, when researching this tome, try to shuffle so that you get the rest. The most important research is the Clay Forge. The constructs you'll be able to draft will be the substitutes of the Bronze and Copper Golems, and do a better job at holding the line. The next important research is Raiders of the Deep, as it'll benefit everything but your mythics. Third in line is Underground Vault to get you more Binding Essence as well as gold. Then Silent Barracks will help you with stability and territory defense. Next we get to Tome of the Construct. Similar to the previous tome, there's just one research I don't recommend, the Bronze Golem. You already have access to them through the Copper Golem, and they aren't as good at holding the line as the Clay Defenders. You can keep around the few you've got from the early game and maybe research this later on. At this point, it's best you prioritize the rest. Compounding Defense is the priority, then both of the cascading commands. You'll also want Linked Minds for the form units. Tier 3 opens up with Tome of Geomancy. This is where the versatility in this faction starts to come in. You'll want everything in this tome, so you'll have to research one item later. The priority research is the Geomancer. Then afterwards, go for Geomantic Crystallization and Resonant Blades. After that, whether you want to prioritize your economy or your military is up to you, but do research Summon Elemental as well as Hall of Geomantic Resonance. Thankfully, Amplification is next and it doesn't have many priority researches. Here you want Astral Blood and Frenzying Focus. The rest is flexible. Chain Lightning is a good combat spell, and Amplified Arrows will only see use if you are fielding the Clay Arbalests. Next, pick Tome of the Dreadnought. We can't have a build focused on constructs without the tome that gives you extra ranks when you recruit them. Remember to have a War Foundry in your recruitment-focused city or anywhere you plan to get your constructs from. Other than that, you'll want Warding Metals and Tuning Kits from this tome. At Tier 4, we have just one tome, Astral Mirror. From here you want Mirror Veil and Summon Astral Reflection. As mentioned before, Mirror Veil helps your frontline be very good at enduring magic attacks, and the Astral Reflection summon lets you duplicate any unit you want in your army. The Throne of Mirrors has a small synergy in this build thanks to the Silent Barracks. Any combat that takes place in your domain will get you a copy of your leader as well as a clay construct. Then, at tier 5, we want Tome of the Creator. It's this tome that brings the elemental and construct hybrid build together with Shaper's Touch. Every single unit of yours will benefit from it. It's also worth noting that the Earth Titan summon is a pretty strong combat summon, and thanks to this being a Mystic Summoner build, you'll have plenty of casting points to summon it in battle and still have room for your other spells. That's the build. I think that compared to the new Prosperous Swarmers, the Arcane Assemblers changed a lot more, and feel both more powerful and more streamlined than the original build. Despite being opposite affinities, Astral and Materium complement one another in a way that feels very satisfying. It's also very fun that the whole elemental side of this faction is versatile, varying based on the terrain that you're fighting in. And that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this rework build and that you're having a good day. See you in the next one.